to Focus on HR, your internet video program on human resources. I'm your host, Kathleen Koch. Coming up later in the show, we'll look at a SHRM delegation that offered HR insights to the government of Cuba. Yes, Cuba. And the survivor of a gruesome workplace attack speaks out about domestic violence. But first, the news. In our top story, financial worries affect employees' performance on the job, say most HR professionals. Yet the number of employers offering workers some sort of financial education dropped nearly 17% from 2009 to 2011. Those are the results of a new SHRM survey of more than 450 HR professionals. Respondents said the ability to focus on work and overall stress are the aspects of employee performance most affected when workers worry about money. Cost was the #1 reason given for dropping financial education programs. If you're hearing less coughing and sneezing in your workplace, this might be why. Fewer people have come down with the flu this season than last season, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's good news and suggests the vaccines developed for this flu season are doing their job. Another possible factor, flu prevention techniques such as frequent hand washing and staying home when ill also may be working. Experts say keep using those techniques because we are not out of the woods yet. The flu season typically lasts until May, says Patricia Curran, a registered nurse and principal with Buck Consultants. And flu activity often picks up in February, she says, when holiday breaks end and people find themselves in close quarters. We'll have more news in less than a minute, but first, here's a brief message from our sponsor. If you're stuck in the winter doldrums, unable to get out of bed, you are not alone. But if you can't be at work on time, don't use one of the excuses found in a recent Career Builder survey. Some of the more amusing alibis included: an employee thought she had won the lottery. She hadn't. A worker who said he was late for work because he was interviewing for a job with another company. And our personal favorite, an employee who said he couldn't possibly have been late for his 8 a.m. shift since he never planned to get there before 9. So if you don't see our next episode 2 weeks from now, it's because the dog ate our camera. He's usually pretty hungry. The Cuban government recently started moving 500,000 people off its payroll, allowing them to open operations in more than 180 different categories of business. In response to a request from academic initiatives abroad, SHRM sent a high-level delegation to the island nation to help them start catching up on how best to manage workers in a free enterprise system.
The new system that's being proposed, which is really a business model that says we are now allowing you to be an entrepreneur and to take care of your needs and to set up your own businesses. That is a huge shift.
Just the idea of having risk of ownership, risk of income, all of these types of risk in your life, I think is one of the biggest challenges that they're going to have. This is a huge culture change for Cuba. They're changing the culture of a country. Changing the culture of a company is a challenge. Changing the culture of a country is an enormous challenge.
We were delighted at the exchange that we had with the various people we met with and the government officials and the professionals that we met with. And they're anxious to learn more about best practices in HR management. They're interested in research, they're interested in data.
I see the senior leadership there committed to elevating their understanding of HR and what can be accomplished with effective employee management.
We left the door open to one day when the relations are normalized, that we can continue the dialogue. And in the meantime, we would be glad to share information that we would be legally allowed to share with them.
I'd be surprised if not only SHRM doesn't go back there, but that many other companies don't go to Cuba.
It's going to be exciting to look back and say, you know what, SHRM was there before the relations with Cuba were normalized. We were opening doors to our members and their organizations to come in and be a part of the development of this great nation.
time of year, the air is filled with romance and delivery trucks are filled with flowers. But sometimes affection turns into something dark and even abusive. In those cases, HR professionals must be ready to safeguard their workers. In our next story, Dory Meinert, senior writer for HR Magazine, looks at how domestic abuse led to a shockingly violent assault at one Maryland workplace.
When Yvette Cade came to work at the store behind me in October 2005, she was trying to escape an abusive relationship. An award-winning employee, she had recently left her husband and was trying to build a safer life for herself and her daughter. But on that October morning, her husband paid her a visit, and her workplace and her life were suddenly in danger.
When Roger walked in that morning, I felt anxious, and he said, "Hello, Yvette, I love you." He began dumping liquid onto my head. I thought that he was trying to embarrass me and get me fired from my job. I didn't know that it was gasoline at the time. I was on the ground, and the flame just ripped up my back, and the flames were everywhere. And I began spraying my face with water to be able to communicate that my daughter was at school, and he may go set my daughter on fire.
Thankfully, Yvette's daughter escaped harm that day, but Yvette did not.
Tell us what you've been through since the day of the attack. How many surgeries have you had to endure?
I've had 34 surgeries, and it's been a rough time the past 6 years.
Before that day, Yvette had never been attacked at work. She had, however, been mistreated at home. And while that abuse made it harder to perform on the job, it also motivated her to come to work each day.
We would get into a physical fight where it would just be awful. He would punch me, choke me.
You were still going to work. How did this affect your ability to work and carry on your life outside the home?
I didn't want my daughter to be in a domestic violence situation, so I knew that I had to be strong and go to work and have stability in my finances by working hard and keeping busy. It gave me the time not to focus on what was bad, and being away from the home at work was a relief to me.
Yvette used to cover up her bruises with long sleeves, dark glasses, and makeup, but she doesn't hide anymore. Now she speaks out about domestic violence. And her experiences can help employers better understand what employees feel in these situations and how best to approach them.
Is there anything that your coworkers said or did at the time that helped you through the difficult times?
There was a gentleman that I work with. He said that he didn't deserve me. So I believe that my coworkers, they wanted to say more, but they just didn't know how to say it. But he was very blunt. I was thankful that he said it to me, and that did give me the time to think, and it made me want to reach out. I knew of a domestic violence hotline number that you can call this anonymous, and they can give you tips and whatnot. When you talk to someone and seek counseling, it really does help, because it gives you a good outlet to talk to someone. I think that really helps a person see that they're valuable, that they are blessed, and they can seek help, and there's other people that can help them get out of this situation. It helps to hear a voice, and I'm really glad that I can do that today.
For a link to a new standard that offers policies and practices for addressing workplace violence, visit us at www.shrm.org/focusonhr. And that's our show. I'm Kathleen Koch. Thanks for joining us.